Hello, world. Welcome to my channel, Proteus Augustus. I'm an artist, scientist, and American Constitutionist. Today is early morning, March 18th, 2021. I posted that video at like 1:37, rolled one up, and then I go outside. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. I haven't stepped a toe out of this room since yesterday evening. Because I'm in just too much pain, man. I gotta like kind of recover. And when I leave tomorrow, anyways. And so I go out, have a smoke, 2 o'clock in the morning. Excuse me. This hotel is like in the middle of, suburb neighborhood. There's nothing going on out there. There's no traffic, no nothing. But some dude's gotta come outside. I mean, it's just, what's the odds of that, right? I'm just constantly being approached. Constantly. It's like, poke the fucking nut bag, right? Anyways, I just had enough of this, all of this. I'm not saying that everybody in Colorado is a bad person. I met a lot of nice people, but the segment of the population is so large, and the negativity is just something that I don't want to deal with. Right? But anyways, I've been thinking about a video that I wanted to put out, and it's about privacy. All right, and why the human mind needs it, and why the Bill of Rights guarantee it. You see, how is a mind supposed to develop without, exploring itself? I mean, you think about things, right, in your own mind, and you work out your personality as time goes on. If people are always in your head, always watching what you're doing, right, know everything you buy, know everything you do, and they're building a profile on you in some computer somewhere, right? So because all of us just kind of fell into this scenario, they have all this information on us, right? It's the same thing now with the when you call an institution, like a bank or something, and the computer, the AI wants to have a conversation with you now. What you don't understand is the more syllabic conversation you have with the computer, the more fingerprint it gets, the more voice fingerprint it gets. And that's another way that these people are prying on you and violating your privacy. They're saying in order for you to survive. Now, it's just like a car. I need my car. Now, they can call it a privilege all they want, but, to most of us, it's a necessity. It's a need. It's more of a right than it is a privilege now because things are so vast, right? And it's the same thing with using, technology. It is so vast and so permeated into society that we have to use it. And then they coerce us into using their products because we don't have a choice because we have to compete. And like I said before, 80% of the population are conformists, right? So all of those people are that population is what pushes us losing our rights. All right? Or I should say losing our privacy. I mean, why should these companies compile information on what I purchase, what I eat? That could be very dangerous information. Again, let's talk about a little bit about spycraft, right? If you have an enemy, you study that person. There's a lot of ways to dispatch someone. People watch too much TV. It's all about information. Right? Information is deadly. Right? So if they know what your routine is, and let's say somebody paid them to give them the information that you go back and forth from these two different locations on a regular basis, they don't need to know the reason. They just know they could find you there. Right? And they use this information to do that all the time, right? It's the same thing with 23andMe and those other gene programs, I guess you would call them, where you send your genetic code into them and they tell you who you are, right? Well, that information is being used also in a database for various reasons. Now, this concept about, well, if you have nothing to hide, you shouldn't worry about anything. Well, listen, the government should worry about guys like me. That's the way it's supposed to be. I shouldn't be worried about the fucking government. None of us should be. That's how twisted your minds have become. That's how inculcated you have become to think that this small segment of the population called the Democratic Party is the government. No. The whole point of the Second Amendment is to instill fear in those people. That we are armed and we're not going to let you take the Bill of Rights away from us. Try as you might. We're not going to go down like that. I guarantee you. All right? And if I was the governor of Texas, I'd be turning them motherfuckers back and telling the federal government to go kiss my ass. Right? And then the rest of us need to get together and stop this madness. Okay? They're bringing people in here, this political party, all right? A small segment, again, of the population that is not the government. They may be employed in positions that we have to conduct our affairs, right? But they are not the government. But they're taking our money, right? And rather than giving it to us for what we need, they're bringing in these other people. Again, this is the God complex. The same thing with Obama. I mean, how do you get a Nobel Peace Prize when you ain't even done anything? Just because you get elected president and you're black? That's insane. That's actually an insult to Obama. All right? Any fucking man in this world would take that as an insult. Right? You're just some fucking patsy for these fucking creatures running the world, right? That's what they did to you, Obama, right? We don't love you, right? You just, so Obama tried to destroy us also by giving all that money to Iran. And now that Biden's president, what are they doing? They're fucking shooting missiles at us now and shit, right? And the Democratic Party doesn't care because they're in it with them. They're not Americans. Everything they're doing is to destroy America. So, a lot of these other countries think that America is an inconvenience because we have the right to vote our people out regularly. So they're always dealing with different people. That's an inconvenience to them, right? So that's how they turn the Democratic Party. Right? Because the Democratic Party ain't straight. They're communists now, right? Straight up. Forget the socialist shit. They're communists. They're trying to take the Bill of Rights away from us. They don't want us to have private property. They want to put us in cities. I know this for a fact because when I went back to community college a couple, it's probably 2 years now, right? I had this Iranian teacher. At least, he came around to being reasonable. But that was one of the questions. They're teaching these kids in the school, we're talking about sustainability. Cities, by definition, are not sustainable. It takes the hinterland. It takes the farmers and all that to keep them alive. They die. If you cut the city off, it's like, there's no way they would die, right? So what's the purpose of putting all of your population in cities? That's not a good plan for survival, by any means. Even if you had, other creatures, right? Other animals, right? If you put all your eggs in one basket, that same old story. Anyways, But putting people in the cities, if they did get sick, that's where a lot of the deaths are, right? People like out here, like my property, there's nobody around me for a mile. Anyway, I'm a mile and a half behind the reservoir. If I'm there, so what's their point? Their point is control, right? Anyways, privacy is very, very important for the human mind. The person needs to know that. Like if you have a child, right? You want to supervise the child, right? But at some point, you gotta let the child, have his own privacy in his room or her room to think about life and to fantasize about what they want to be, right? And they're entitled to do that in their own mind. If they're on the freaking internet or whatever, and there's some kind of computer AI watching everything they do, right? They're not going to have privacy because other people are going to figure them out. I mean, that's, again, spy. That's how you deal with people, right? It's nothing new. It's just technology now. Everybody has their hands on information, right? So all they need is my phone number. So when I call up for a pizza or something, and they see my phone number, this guy asked my phone number, my first name, and my freaking last name. I'm like, dude, what the fuck is this? An application for fucking what? I'm just buying a pizza. And anyways, I won't say that. But they're taking away all the tools that a human being needs to think for himself also. They are inculcating these new children that they are oppressors because they were born white. We cannot have that. That's warfare. These people running across the border, that's warfare. Do you understand me? Right? They're destroying this country. The only way to stop them is warfare. And that's not being an insurgent against the United States of America. That's going to war with a political party like we did against the Nazis, the Soviets, and we're going to have to do with the CCP, right? But, the Democratic Party is weakening us from within, just like Obama did. They're weakening us financially and tossing that money to these other countries because they have agreements on how they believe the world should be, that we should have less and all these other people should be doing the production or whatever the case may be. Now that's totally asinine to me. I mean, this get big is the problem. It's just like my truck versus my car. Again, same scenario. Truck is big, man. It's out there. The wind is blowing hard. It's a freaking sail. I got a video of one of them getting blown off 25 right behind me, right? Whereas my car's a smaller car. It's got a lower profile, right? Bigger is not always better, right? You have to really look at the situation and the factors and what kind of vehicle suits you to that mission, right? Or whatever the case may be. Excuse me. But anyway, taking away the Bill of Rights, not being able to say what you want to say, and you can say what you want to say. I say what I want to say, and they're punishing me for it. I mean, didn't we, like when I was growing up, black people wanted to go into the restaurant and sit with white people. They didn't want to sit, and most white people didn't care about that. It was just some knuckleheads, right? But they want to go back to that. That's insane. There's something wrong. Anyways, warfare is going to come. Well, I'm not saying it's going to happen tomorrow. I'm just saying 4 years is a long time to take this punishment by the Democratic Party. They're putting people out of work in this country to put people to work in other parts of the world. They're telling people to stay home because of COVID. Meanwhile, they're bringing COVID patients over the border at will to infect the American people. That's a war on the American people. There is no other answer. That's warfare against the American people. All right, from within. That's tyranny. Right? And then they want to try to tell you eventually that you can't go anywhere unless you take a vaccine. I'm telling you, I ain't taking no fucking vaccine. I'm going wherever the fuck I want. Come and get me. Right? This is America. I don't give a fuck. I don't need a vaccine. I'm a healthy person. Right? Why do I need a vaccine? I'm not going to make anybody sick. If I get it, see, that's what they're not telling you. Right? When you get the vaccine, if you're not sick, you don't need the vaccine, right? Why do you need a vaccine? You're not sick, right? So, if you take care of yourself and, you associate with proper people and healthy people, you're good to go, right? But if you're out there whoring around and shit, that's where the problem starts. All these people whoring around, right? Anyways, it just comes down to, that's why, morality matters to a certain extent, right? Oh, it matters a lot because it helps you navigate these nefarious situations, as pleasant as they might be. You have to be level-headed enough to make the proper decisions, right? And that's what the individual right is, to make that decision, not the government's right. And more people are seeing it, and they're going to push, because Mao killed 80 million people, and if they start killing people in this country, right, or they start incarcerating us because we go against the Democratic Party, there's going to be a war, and they're going to lose. They're going to lose big time. They can't defeat us. The Americans and people are not going to let a political party abuse us. Eventually, the rest of the people are coming around. There's at least 5 governors that should be put in prison, and they're all Democrats. Right? Killing all those elderly people. They should have known, at a minimum. I think they probably knew from the get-go that this could happen, but they didn't care, right? Because it boils to oh yeah, and so whatever happened to the flu numbers, right? What else did people die of in the last year, right? I have gotten no medical care through the VA, right? They did nothing but abuse me here, and because they're the institution, they're the truth teller. Well, I could get a lawyer I talked to a couple of lawyers. They don't want to deal with the VA. And it's a complicated case, Oh, there's plenty of personal injury. This is worth big money. They ain't got time to listen to it. And the guy was from Georgetown. When I saw that, I was like, well, I got to give him a shot. Well, he just turned out to be the same fucking dude, right? From Georgetown. Right? He's a party guy. And I'm suing the government. So, whatever, man. You don't want to make money on my case, that's okay. But don't put my ass down. Don't tell me I don't have a case, and don't tell me I don't have injury. I just can't deal with it. All right? I know what my injury is, and I'm suffering right as I sit here. Right? And every time I get triggered about that woman, right? That's injury to me. Right? Anyways, till next time, think free and be free.